Today, we are pulling back the curtain on one of Indonesia's most powerful, yet kind of hidden corporate giants, EMTEK.
If you live in Indonesia, I'm willing to bet you interact with this company's services every single day, and you probably don't even realize it. Yep, that's right. All of those huge brands you know and use, they all trace back to one single company.
So how in the world did they build this massive empire? Well, that's what we're going to break down. First, we'll map out their digital ecosystem today. Then, we'll rewind about 8 years to see how they grew into what they are. After that, we'll dig into their latest financial report. And finally, we'll look at where they're headed next.
Okay, first up, let's just try to get a handle on how massive and diverse this company really is. It's way more than you think.
So EMTEK's whole strategy really comes down to 3 powerful pillars. First, you've got media, right? They basically dominate TV and streaming, getting in front of millions of people. Then there's digital, which gives them a piece of the action in the apps you use to shop, get around, pay for stuff. And then, and this might surprise you, they're a huge player in healthcare with a whole network of hospitals. It's a true ecosystem.
Okay, so how does a company that started out selling computer parts end up owning TV stations and digital banks? It's an incredible story. Let's trace that transformation.
Their start was actually pretty humble. Back in 1983, EMTEK wasn't about content or clicks at all. It was about hardware. They started as a simple computer equipment provider. A world away from the giant we see today.
Their modern identity was really forged through a series of super bold moves. The big pivot, that started around 2015 with a huge push into the digital world. They invested in the e-commerce giant Bukalapak and launched their own streaming service, Video. A few years later, they showed everyone their media muscle by broadcasting the Asian Games. And now, more recently, they've jumped headfirst into fintech, partnering with huge names like Grab to build a digital bank.
So, with this sprawling empire, how are they actually doing, especially with the tough global economy we've been seeing? Well, their 2023 annual report gives us the inside scoop.
And right off the bat, these numbers are pretty stark. Revenue dipped about 6%, which, okay, is kind of understandable. But look at that bottom line. That's the real story here. They went from a massive 5.4 trillion rupiah profit in 2022 to a 240 billion rupiah loss in 2023. That is a huge, huge swing.
A drop like that makes you wonder, right? What happened? Did their core businesses fail? Did people just stop watching their shows or using their apps?
Well, the report itself gives us a pretty surprising answer. It actually wasn't that their main businesses fell apart. The real reason was their investments. See, a huge chunk of their 2022 profit came from the high value of their stakes in other tech companies. When the market for those companies cooled way down in 2023, poof, that profit just vanished.
This 240 billion rupiah loss really tells the story of their year. It wasn't about a failure of their own products, but about being exposed to the wild roller coaster of the global tech market.
The report really lays out this perfect tug-of-war. On one side, you've got this external storm brewing, a shaky global economy, high inflation, and advertisers getting nervous. But on the other side, you've got their internal defense, tightening up risk management, strengthening controls, and really focusing on long-term stability to ride it all out.
So, knowing all these challenges and seeing those financial results, what's EMTEK's game plan? Where do they go from here?
Their board lays out a really clear 3-part strategy. First, keep innovating. Makes sense. Second, be careful. This isn't the time for crazy risks. And third, and this is the big one, diversify. They're betting that their real strength isn't in any single business, but in the combined power of their entire ecosystem.
And this quote from the report, it says it all. Their answer to a volatile market is actually pretty simple. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. By making their pillars in healthcare, digital, and finance even stronger, they're trying to build a company that's resilient enough to handle any storm that comes their way.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? EMTEK has built this incredible ecosystem that touches nearly every part of digital life in Indonesia. Their whole strategy now is to lean into that incredible breadth. The challenge is to see if that very diversification can be their shield, turning the risks of a shaky global economy into their ultimate competitive advantage.